What's up, guys? Welcome to Anime Casuals. I'm Lucky.
Johnny.
Michael.
And we make up Anime Casuals. So today we're going to be doing a video on Castletown Dandelion. This is going to be our first official review of an anime. And so yeah, we got breaking it up into different parts. Why don't you take it away, Michael?
Okay, I'm covering kind of an outline for the story. So I'm going to start with kind of an introduction, kind of like something you might read on Intro to the Anime. So Castletown Dandelion is, in a broad sense, about the Sakurada?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sakurada family. Pronunciations. I love anime.
Keep them casual.
Where there's a family of 11 people who all live in one household. And that, I think, already starts the hilarity of like this anime. Yeah, it's a full house though, like two full houses, like just combined into one. It's a mom and dad and 9 children. All of these children and the father have special powers because they are the royal family, and the royal family in this town, they all have superpowers, which is, we'll get there, and it's great. It's great. During the course of the series, we see the election that is going on in this town because the king, who's super cool dad, thought way back, I think when he had his like first or second kid, that when this child graduates high school, I am going to put all my children through a mass election based on popular vote to see who's going to be my successor. And that already kind of kickstart our way into the series. And then it kind of focuses down on our main character called Akane. And she is super funny because she has this kind of weird quirk about her where she hates attention. Like, she despises it.
Social anxiety.
Major social anxiety. And that stems from something we'll get into in a little bit. And weirdly enough, there's also 2,000 security cameras that are installed. This is repeatedly said throughout the anime. Installed all throughout, again due to an incident in the past, to help keep his children safe. So, this anime is really cool. It's got a lot of detail, and I'm kind of describe the characters in the anime, and then I'll kind of broadly describe how the anime progresses. So, we have 11 almost main characters. I said Akane is the focus of this anime, but there is almost 9 main characters because it really focuses evenly on all these kids.
Heavily involved.
Yeah, and I'll work out backwards. So I'm going to talk about their powers just slightly, and then Johnny's going to get into it when he goes through his section. So we have the youngest child. Her name is Shiori. And I gotta say, that she captured our hearts because she's
Major kawaii point.
Yeah, she is just an adorable little kid.
Go Shiori.
And even more adorable, her power is the ability to talk to anything. She can talk to living or non-living objects. So, example, she can talk to a tree, and the tree has a voice that'll speak back to her. She can talk to a watermelon, and they'll have an actual conversation. At one point, she talks to an elevator, a firebox, where like fire extinguishers are kept and stuff. Yeah, and she had a conversation about figuring out what the elevator in the building was, and it apparently knew this. And her power, they all have names, which is really cool. Her power is called Soulmate. For self-explanatory reasons. A little bit older, we have Teru. His is, I love watching My Hero, so it's like, he's got a cool quirk. He's a little like Deku. His is called Limit Over, and he's got super strength. And again, we'll go into each one of these. A little bit older, we have Hikari. Her name is God Hand. And while at first is a little bit strange because I'm not exactly how sure it works, as the anime progresses, you see her and her ability to increase and decrease the growth of a living thing for 24 hours. So she can use it on herself to make her older or younger, ensue a hilarity. And she also uses it on a couple different living things as it goes on. We have Haruka, who is the twin of the next person I'm going to talk about. His is called Lots of Next, which I gotta say as a small little con, that's a very plain name for something.
Not very leading.
He does do lots of next. He's able to predict the future in probability terms. A little older, his twin, we have daughter Masaki. Hers, again, a little My Hero-ish, is called All for One. But she can create 7 clones, and each clone is based on the 7 deadly sins. So she has one who comes out of her that's super angry based on wrath, and so on and so on. Next, I gotta say, is one of the most interesting powers that they have in this anime. Her name is Kanade, and she has a power called Heaven's Gate, which at first is weird. And I'm like, what does Heaven's Gate mean? Well, her power is to materialize anything she thinks of at the expense of her bank account. So we see a few examples of this. She can make rocks for free, but then she's gone all the way up to making high-tech drones that follow her verbal commands. And for 5 of those, they cost about $2 million. So that's an intense, very broad power that got a lot of cool application.
We'll find that at Costco.
Yeah. Oh wait, if I produce 5 of them, is there a discount? I don't know.
Can you return them?
Volume.
A little bit older, we have this oldest son. His name is Shu, and he has the power called Transporter, which is he can teleport. And he can teleport himself or anything he's touching, which at some point does not matter really how big it is. Probably not as big as the planet. That's probably a little too big. And at the oldest daughter, we have Aoi Sakurada. Her power in the beginning is called Invisible Work, which we're come to believe that she is able to remember everything, but she is very smart. And spoilers right now, so if you don't want to hear this, cover those ears. Earmuffs, please. Earmuffs.
Oh, I got a minute.
Her power later on is called Absolute Order, which means anybody she tells, she can do it on mass groups, little groups, will follow her orders until they're done or
until they went through the order.
Yeah, until they went through the order, which she actually has a lot of misgivings about and kind of grows through as the series goes on. Now, when I skip though, because she's the main character, is Akane, and she has a really cool power is that she is able, again, on herself or anything she touches, she can control the gravity of this, so she can make 0G all the way to as heavy as possible and knee drop you to oblivion. So these are all the characters, and just kind of like Game of Thrones level. I just described 9 children, plus we have Shishiro, the king.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only one who doesn't have a power is the mom, because she's not actually part of the royal bloodline, but she married into it. So she was not able to receive power through blood. Otherwise, this would be a really weird anime, and we wouldn't probably be, as much talking about it.
Transfusion.
The king's power, which is a very godly power to have as a king, is he's able to read emotions. So every emotion has a color, and he knows exactly what that means, which is great for a leader. I mean, really. So we're playing around with 11 characters as this goes on, and that is part of what makes this anime so interesting. So every episode we go through is 2 stories or 3 stories focusing on each member of the family. And they're all delightful. Some of them are about backstories, like, for example, we have a little story between Shu, and I'm sure you're going to touch on these when we get to feels, because those feels. We have a little story from Shu and Kanade, and Akane. Akane and Kanade were about 10, maybe 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there, kids. And Akane was like, Kanade, I want to go play. And she's like, let's go play. And Shu the whole time was trying to be that older brother. He's like, no, we gotta go back. It's time to go. Parents are gonna worry about us. And as the Kanade eventually convinces Shu, they go out to a kind of an open field and they start playing around. Akane pretends to be a superhero, and Kanade pretends to be in trouble, and they have this whole like interaction. It's pretty adorable. And then Akane kind of asks Kanade, she's like, "Use your power. I really want a playground. I wish there was a playground here." And she uses it, and she makes this playground. And then we see some of the kind of limitations on these powers. Is that she forgot a way to get in the playground, so she tries to make it, and it collapses on all of them. And this is like one of those moments where like the stories start getting a little more intense, and as this goes on through the story, you see just a play between characters, really watching family dynamics happen, and like how wonderful, like, I gotta say, my main dude Shu, like, I gotta admit, he's like one of my favorite characters in this, because he is constantly being just a great older sibling. He is constantly supporting his younger sisters and brothers in this election where they're all having to go out and campaign. I mean, our youngest two are about like 5 and 6, and they still have to go out and campaign. And it's so adorable watching them all kind of transform. And each one of these characters go through little transformations. Shiori, I don't think she goes through that much. I don't know. You guys think, like...
Not really.
No, she just becomes a really good support for Teru, the littlest boy, because he's constantly freaking out because he's got like kind of this. He's got an issue just because he's got this super strength and he feels like he's got to protect his family. I mean, that feels like hand in hand. Yeah, he's got a complex about it, and Shiori constantly, because she's able to speak to everything, she kind of knows how to talk, and she's like, "It's okay, I'll help you the whole time," and she's just constantly supporting her like year or two older sibling, and that's like wonderful. So they kind of both build, and Teru finally goes, "Oh, I'm good enough just being a kid," because that's what people are expecting, and all people really want to do is hear what my true feelings are. They don't need to hear this kind of whole spiel about me being like, sounding older than I am, and he learns how to just be a child. Hikari learns how to do things for herself because she goes through and becomes a pop idol. Haruka, again, I think he's a little bit downplayed the whole time.
Not so much.
He doesn't go through too much, but he helps a lot. He's like, a lot of these older siblings are doing a lot for their younger siblings. Misaki learns that it's okay not being the leader of something because she's so good at helping others out. And Kanade kind of gets over her huge kind of mistake of injuring Shu and kind of develops. And that's like really why the story of this anime is so cool, because you're watching development happen of these characters who you think are kind of like, they're all kind of flawed in some way, and they kind of grow through it, and it's a very personal story. Like, it's people. And our big character, Akane, she goes through this massive transformation. While she thinks it's a little step, I mean, it's kind of a story to all of us. It's like, little steps are actually much bigger than you realize, because she kind of mostly gets over her fear of kind of public attention.
Through shenanigans.
Yeah, through all the whole family, the whole town helping her out. And that was like the thing that I'm gonna wrap up with is the story of this anime is kind of watching a whole town and family come together and kind of help this main character. Because it kind of focuses on her. While everybody else is going around her, she's got this major fear that starts off the anime that, unlike the other characters, it kind of really impedes her and causes her to mess up more than everybody else. She flies through the air, and through that, like, everybody can see up her skirt, and she's highly embarrassed about that. While everybody else is not. It's like, "Oh, you just made a mistake. It's okay." She's like, "I'm so embarrassed. Everybody's looking at me."
Takes it hard.
Yeah, she takes it hard, and over the course, she, like, one of my favorite moments is the older sister, she's able to make anything. So she makes these glasses, she hands them to Akane, and she goes, "These glasses are Clark Kent glasses." She doesn't say Clark Kent glasses, but I'll just keep it simple. These mask your date, make it so nobody can realize who you are. And so she goes around town, like, saving people and, just doing these acts of heroism. And everybody in the whole town plays along with it because the whole town just wants to see, their royal family succeed, and the royal family, as eventually Shu says at the end, he's like, think of your loved ones and how you feel about them. That's how we feel about you. And I gotta say, the story of this is just wonderful. So that's kind of an overview of Castletown Dandelion. I'm gonna throw it off.
Actually, before we get it to Johnny, we're gonna cut this video off here for 2 reasons. but yeah, we're gonna have part 2 come out, maybe a part 3 with bonus questions. Keep tuned, guys, and keep it casual.